On this week's edition of The Overtime, Flag High Volleyball faced off against Coconino for the rivalry match, and NAU volleyball coach Ken Murphy gives his thoughts on their current gameplay. Then, NAU football beats Sacramento State and takes on Montana next. Finally, we go outdoors to the Stagecoach Line Ultramarathon and canoeing Marshall Lake. All that and more on this edition of The Overtime. Hello, and welcome to The Overtime, Northern Arizona's only sports show. I'm your host, Elena Robla, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Lita Schreeders.
Thanks, Elena. I'm excited to be here. Let's get into it.
The Coconino High School volleyball team traveled to their crosstown rivals' home court for a match Monday night against Flagstaff High.
Sports reporter Reese Clark captured the game and all the emotions from each team.
Preparation. One of the key pieces to the Flagstaff High School girls volleyball team. Head coach Beth Haglund recognized the rivalry against the Coconino High School Panthers and the emotions that came into place Monday night.
It's a very emotional game, so on paper we should win. But when you get into a game like this, it's so emotional, a lot of crazy things happen. So we talked about keeping your emotions in check. Don't let the crowd influence you in the excitement of the game. Just get out there and do what you do best and play good volleyball, and you'll come out with a win.
A win is exactly what the Eagles left the court with. The rivalry match ended 3-0, leaving the Eagles with a 21-1 record. Junior outside hitter Lillian Hartman set the tone for the Eagles' offense throughout the match.
Treat it as any other team, and the crowd's just a crowd, and you just gotta have tunnel vision on just the court.
The Panthers and the Eagles rivalry is not over this season. The two teams will have another match in just a few weeks. The Panthers head coach Lacey Eversole said she wants to continue to focus on their team and their capabilities for the upcoming match.
Limiting our errors on our side. Flag High puts up a really big block. Our hitters struggled with it a little bit today, but, they worked really, really hard.
The Eagles and Panthers will face off again at 6 p.m. on October 28th at Coconino High School. Reese Clark, NAZ Sports.
Sticking with volleyball, last Friday, the NAU women's volleyball team took on their third Big Sky Conference matchup of the season against University of Northern Colorado. I spoke with NAU head coach Ken Murphy about continuing conference play for the next games and what his message to the team was to prepare them for the upcoming game.
I focus on us and putting together complete matches. They're a good group. They want to win. They want to play better than they did today, and I think, they are taking these things hard and feeling like we're working hard enough in practice to have better results. And so I think we just have to have courage and keep fighting.
NAU is 7-7 overall and will look to pick up its first Big Sky Conference win at Portland State on Saturday night. The Vikings are just 3-11 overall, but are 2-1 in conference play.
We have to go on a quick break, but stick around for NAU football when we return.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then, another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, can you chop the pineapple?
Chop the pineapple.
Nope. I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope. I'm high. Let's order in.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
Welcome back. 2 weekends ago, sports reporter Rami Solomon was at the NAU versus Sacramento State football game. The stadium was filled with energy as families gathered for family weekend, and the stadium was sold out. It was an atmosphere to remember.
The NAU football team had a dominant showing on Saturday, taking down Sacramento State in a 34-16 victory. While NAU showed great success on all sides of the ball, the impressive story comes from the defense, forcing 4 turnovers including interceptions by junior defensive back Zach Lewis, senior cornerback DJ Van Hook, and a scoop-and-score fumble recovery touchdown by sophomore linebacker Amon Allen.
I mean, Coach Wright always talks about how important turnovers are, so any turnover you get in the game was a big thing, and for us to score off it, it was a huge momentum swing for us.
What a great team win. What a great effort by our defense, really the entire game, and just getting those turnovers and giving us opportunities with some of those in really good field position, and then our offense capitalizing, I believe, 3 scores off of the turnovers. So great team win, and on to the next.
While there are many players who had a great game, senior tight end Bryce White made highlight reel after highlight reel, putting up 88 yards for 6 catches and a touchdown. He was a problem for Sacramento State's defense all day long.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Obviously, he's great in the blocking game, and you know, when I see him one-on-one out there, just give him a chance, and you know, he'll make the play. You know, this was kind of his breakout game. He's had a few good games these past weeks, but you know, we all know what he's capable of, and he definitely showed that today.
With this win, NAU was boosted into the Stats Perform FCS Top 25 for the first time since 2018. NAU will take this win as a confidence booster and momentum going on the road in their next game against number 10 rated Idaho. Rami Solomon, NAZ Sports.
Coming off this win, the Lumberjacks fell to number 10 ranked Idaho last week and will be heading over to Missoula to play the number 14 ranked Montana Grizzlies this weekend.
I'm excited to see NAU continue their journey this season. NAU football has an upcoming game this weekend against University of Montana, which is one of the toughest environments to play in the Big Sky Conference. It is also Montana's homecoming game. Now to Giselle Contreras to talk more about the game.
On Tuesday, I went out to NAU football practice and spoke with head coach Brian Wright and running back Darvin Hubbard about this weekend's trip to Missoula. Earlier in the year, Coach talked about playing meaningful football in the month of November, and we wanted to know his stance was on that currently.
It really hasn't changed. Same goal and same approach by our group every week, and that's just to maximize who we are each week. This has been a tough schedule, tough stretch. This is going to be the 4th ranked opponent that we play back-to-back, and 3 of those games on the road.
Darvin Hubbard talked about how excited he is to go to Missoula for this big upcoming matchup against the Lumberjacks and the Grizzlies, which figures to be sold out with over 25,000 rowdy fans on homecoming.
It's exciting always to go to somebody's house. I know it's their homecoming today, not today, on Saturday, so it'd be fun to upset them and ruin their homecoming. That's what we want to do. So we can't wait. It's a challenge for us, and that's what we want to do, is be challenged. So
I'm really excited to see this upcoming game against Montana. Now back to Lydia on the desk.
The game sounds exciting. This is a huge matchup for the Lumberjacks as they are looking to get more conference wins, especially on the road. Last year, the Lumberjacks pulled a huge upset against the Grizz. Let's see if they can do it again this year.
The Grand Canyon is less than a 2-hour drive from Flagstaff, but the 100-mile path is a lot longer if you decide to run it.
I bet.
I'll tell you more after the break.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
How much difference can one vote make?
Since 2023, more than 60 U.S. elections have been tied or won by just one vote. So this fall, your friend could be the tiebreaker. And that could make all the difference. People are more likely to vote when encouraged by a friend. So use your power to decide this election. Make sure you're good to vote and encourage your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back. Alana, I heard there was a marathon from Flagstaff to the Grand Canyon?
That's right, Lydia. The last day of summer started early at the Flagstaff Hot Shots Ranch. I was there as runners were getting ready for the Flagstaff to Grand Canyon Stagecoach Line 100-mile ultramarathon and followed them throughout the race. With the starting signal, runners took off, following the Arizona Trail all the way to Tucson.
A lot of long trails like this don't allow it, and so this is a unique situation to be able to participate, put on a 100-mile event from Flagstaff to the Grand Canyon.
The route traces ancient pathways walked by indigenous peoples for centuries. Today, it's a national recreation trail that goes from Mexico to Utah.
These are ancestral lands, so people were here way before us doing basically what we're doing today, moving by foot from point A to point B, from Flagstaff area, from the peaks to the Grand Canyon.
Although the weather posed some challenges early on, this year's race had a record 62 finishers. With a time of 19 hours and 53 minutes, winner Edwin Miller said this race marked a personal milestone.
This is my first time winning a race, so I'm pretty stoked about that. My mom has actually run ultras for quite a while, so I've kind of grown up around the community, and my brother Andrew is actually he's actually a professional running coach.
This year had a record in participation, with over 100 runners signed up for the 100-mile race. This edition also included relay races, a 55K, and a 100-mile mountain bike race.
This is all Arizona driven, and so these are all participants, people who work on the trail, like the trail, work with the trail in other ways, and so this is a way for them to come out, volunteer, and support our event.
The last runner crossed the finish line at 2:19 p.m. the following day, embodying the spirit of perseverance that defined the event. Elena Ropla, NAZ Sports. It was so much fun getting to follow the runners. The Arizona Trail has some amazing views too.
I bet. Sports reporter Adriana Sparks went to Marshall Lake for another edition of Get Out There. Take a look.
On this edition of Get Out There, we're taking a trip through Marshall Lake, a small, marshy wetland habitat just 12 miles southeast of Flagstaff, and the perfect spot for hiking, fishing, and boating. Marshall Lake is a unique habitat that is home to ducks, osprey, and coots. During the wet cycles, water levels are deep enough to be stocked with trout by the Arizona Game and Fish Department. On land, the site is also a hotspot for elk and even some bald eagles. But Marshall Lake wasn't always a wetland sanctuary. In 2015, northern Arizona experienced some of the most intense wetting storms in recent history. This caused the low water level marsh to rise and become an interactive ecosystem for all types of wildlife. Since then, the Game and Fish Department has worked closely with natural channel design and several wetland experts to secure water accumulation to the lakebed and improve the wetland habitat. The Natural Resource Conservation Service estimates that at least a third of our nation's endangered or threatened species live in wetland areas. For that reason, designated wildlife habitats like those here at Marshall Lake are critical to the survival of some of our most beloved species. Adriana Sparks, NAZ Sports.
Marshall Lake is a beautiful area and a must-see place in Flagstaff.
It sure looks like it, Lydia. I should definitely plan a trip there before it gets too cold.
That's all we have for you tonight. Thank you all for joining us for this edition of The Overtime.
I want to thank our sports reporters, Rami Solomon, Adriana Sparks, Giselle Contreras, and Reese Clark. I'd also like to thank my co-host Lita Schwieters and wish her a really happy birthday. I'm Elena Robla, and we'll see you next Friday for the next edition of The Overtime.